And welcome back to episode 173 of the Weekly Tech Rant with me, Jay.
And me, Carl.
Well, Carl, it clearly is no longer summer here in the UK.
Well, it was till about 10 minutes ago where I was, and all of a sudden it's just gone very, very grey.
The yellow weather warning of torrential rain and heavy and persistent rain, that's the words.
Oh, lovely.
Yes. Well, I have to say I'm quite good because it means that my servers aren't getting overheated in the garage. So,
is that your cooling? Is it the
rain
on the roof?
Lining for, there's a silver lining for everything, I feel, isn't there? You know.
Oh, definitely.
So we're back this week for episode 173 of the Tech Rant, and we have got a lineup this week of some security breaches. We've got Cloudflare's anti-AI scraping. We've got the new tap to pay system. So if you're familiar with Apple Pay or what's the Android Pay, isn't it? I think it's the other one, isn't it, or whatever it's called. There's some modifications coming to the technology that underpins all of that capability. Authy have been hacked. If you don't know what Authy is, Authy provides systems around authentication, particularly their 2FA or MFA application like Microsoft Authenticator or Google Authenticator. They have one of those. They've been hacked, according to Twilio, their parent company. Microsoft's Midnight Blizzard source code breach. Well, Midnight Blizzard, also known as APT29, if I remember correctly, Cozy Bear. Well, they've also been up to things as well. And finally, somebody has put together a pair of smart glasses that takes my idea of plugging in or connecting to ChatGPT. Right, camera. Excellent. And the Tech Rant Movement Mill is back as well. We're going to talk AirPods with cameras, not quite the camera you're thinking of, and HomePods with a display. Yes. I know. I swear we talked about that about 2 years ago, and it never appeared, did it? Right. Let's kick off then, I guess, with the first of the week, which is Cloudflare's anti. What do you want to call it? Anti-AI scraping tech? Is that what?
Yeah. So, obviously, no, we've already had a solution for things like tracking and stuff, haven't we? And general bots from Google that scour the web looking for information. It was called robots.txt. You drop that in the root of your web directory, and the search engines, the crawlers are meant to honor that and not crawl your website. Well, it seems those pesky AI bots have just been ignoring that and scraping your website for data anyway. Kind of expected that one, really, didn't we?
Well, let's be honest. I mean, it feels like it's kind of a bit of a gentleman's agreement, doesn't it? Robot.txt. Please don't scrape.
Well, it was.
Okay.
And obviously, you didn't have to honour that, but it was the gentlemanly thing to do. You're right. But the AI bots clearly are not gentlemen and just ignored it all the time. So Cloudflare have kind of stepped in and gone, well, use us to protect your DNS. I'm presuming it's through the Cloudflare proxy. And basically, they're going to do a one-click button to say, don't allow any AI bots to scrape your website. And they're going to do all the clever machine learning jiggery-pokery in the back end to block those.
This is a huge issue, though, because if you look at the AI models today, we talk obviously a lot about ChatGPT, but of course there are many other AI models out there. And they have to be trained on data, don't they? They have to be trained on the context, the understanding, the nuances, whether it's, enterprise data, whether it's computational data. You've got to give them something. And the internet is a bottomless pit of data, really, isn't it? That actually could be trained on pretty much
not necessarily accurate data, but data nonetheless.
I never said that. I never said it was accurate. But it turns out, isn't it, that that a lot of these services, and I'm not going to blame OpenAI or Anthropic, for themselves, but I'm saying there are other people doing this that are scraping websites. They're scraping image sites. We've had accusations of wasn't it one of the academia sites, wasn't it, was being scraped? And
yeah, I think so.
There was all kinds of stuff here. But the problem is, if you can't get them to train on real world data, this is, I think, again, comes back to the logic of how smart these things become. Because eventually, you're not going to. I'm not talking Skynet, but eventually, we're going to have a situation where you can't stop this. It's going to be out there in the wild, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky one. You're right. It needs the data, but if someone said no, you can't use my data, and it goes and does it anyway, I don't think that's okay.
Well, no, that's not okay at all. But you've got to have more than just a kind of, a polite agreement of please don't scrape.
But then, how do you do that other than putting a paywall up?
Well,
then the internet, as we know it, just disappears because everything's behind a paywall.
Exactly. So as you say, this OpenAI's got their block, that does similar thing, Amazon apparently are getting quite serious, aren't they? Because I believe that this come about because Amazon discovered that one of the companies using AWS was scraping sites, wasn't it, as well? And
Yep.
they're researching, I think, wasn't it called Perplexity was the company that's been accused of doing that. Now, again, we're only going by the statement from Amazon, not obviously, any kind of mudslinging as such.
No.
But Cloudflare, ironically, then is going to use some kind of machine learning here, which is kind of ironic, machine learning AI.
Well, I suppose, but mind you, I imagine it's training on its own data because it has a vast amount of data it sees coming through.
True, and I suppose this is kind of you've got to fight fire with fire, haven't you?
Yeah, and then they say, quite a lot of the bots try and disguise themselves by changing things like user agents and that kind of stuff. So they've been pretty good at detecting that. And apparently, in the old version, they're announcing the new 2.0 kind of version. That 85% of customers have already turned that on to block the AI bots.
Yeah, I guess if you've got a site or data, why would you not do that? I suppose it makes sense.
Well, especially if you've got. I suppose it depends what you do. If you've got a website where you're hosting images and artwork and stuff you've done or content you've created, do you want that stealing? I probably not. So I imagine a lot of people will just stick that on.
And it turns out, according to Cloudflare, this is available even for customers on the free tier. So that's us. We can use this.
I better go and investigate that. But I suspect you need to use their Cloudflare proxy for your site. So I'm not using that for all of mine. So I probably need to investigate.
No, true. I don't think I am either. So, but at least it's available there, I guess, and we can use it. I mean, not that I don't know about you, but I mean, you can scrape all you want. I have got nothing I'm worried about here, but it is again, I guess, just another tool in the armory to stop these AI models picking up information and going forward. But I read something the other day talking about AI, and it was around academia. And it was around, I think it was based on the new Claude Sonnet model.
Okay.
And it was saying about, they got it to do essay writing versus ChatGPT and things like that. And it was saying how universities particularly are going to have to change their way that they approach essays written by AI because soon it's going to become indistinguishable from a human.
Okay.
And they're saying that actually maybe it's a bit like in the old days where, when we were at school, they were told, "Oh, you'll never have a calculator in your pocket," for maths.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to do it in your head because you won't have a calculator all the time.
It's a bit like
you're wrong.
Yeah, it's a bit like going forward. People will use AI to write essays. They will use it to do that. So it's going to have to be more around embedding that capability or expectation into essay writing or whatever that might be. But basically saying, well, it's a tool there. If you get it to write your essay and your essay's stupid, well, then that's your fault, not mine, kind of thing.
Exactly.
But I think it's more around trying to realize that we can't fight this; it's going to happen, and therefore we need to accept it. But obviously, we need to work out a way to ensure that there are guardrails in place to do it, because the content that's been created, like I said, they can't. Some of the models that they had in place to try and detect AI are being defeated already.
Yeah, I suppose the question always on my mind is, do we actually have enough energy for everyone to use this? Because this takes a lot of power, and I would argue not many people are actually using it at the moment, not in the grand scheme of things, compared to people in the world. If we're all using this, especially with it being introduced at the OS level like Apple stuff, do we have enough data centers? Do we have enough power to actually sustain this?
Well, that's a very, very valid point. And
certainly for free.
Well, yeah, for free. Yeah, that's the argument, isn't it? That's the argument, isn't it? That we can't sustain this for free.
But I mean, even if we are paying for it, there's only still a finite amount of energy being produced and data center capacity and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and look, I obviously am in that bucket. I'm paying for it. I pay for this. I have to say, the last month I've been paying for Claude as opposed to ChatGPT.
Traitor!
Yeah,
the great AI wars. He's defected.
I tell you what, Anthropic need to build is a Mac OS app, which would be really helpful. I can't deny that.
I did go and have a play earlier actually on it, just to say, right, okay, here's one of the ones we're going to talk about today. Give me 6-7 talking points for a podcast. And of course, it was like, I can't search the web. I was like, oh, man, right, okay. I have to go and copy and paste from this. Really? I thought, can't OpenAI search the web now if you give it URL.
Well, this is so it's really weird. So you go into OpenAI, you say to it search, and it'll tell you I can't search web. But if you try and craft a prompt slightly differently and go into research, it will do links for you.
Oh, okay.
It's really odd. And if you give it something, sometimes it says it can read it, and then other times it goes, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I can't access that." And so there's definitely some inconsistencies there that I've come across.
Yeah,
as well.
I was just surprised because I use Kaji as a search engine. It has an AI summarizer. I quite often use just to summarize the document so I can quickly read through it. And of course, that can go and reach the web. So I was a bit surprised when I went to use Claude and it couldn't. I was like, oh, okay, this is odd.
Yeah, it is a puzzling one, but I have to say, Claude produces really good content. I've been using it lately for some academic stuff, not to write essays, but to get it to, I wanted to kind of ask a question, a research question, and I put one together, and I said to it, can you analyze the question to ensure that I'm not, I'm not doing, trying to bias or that. And it was really clever. It broke the question down. It gave me several different versions of it that could, look for different aspects of it. Yeah, and it really did more than, I'll be honest with you, more than I could have done myself without a long time of pushing back and forth, working out. So yeah, it's really helpful. And it's given me, by doing that, it's given me now different ways to look at the kind of research I want to do, and obviously there are better questions that I can put forward. So I'm really happy with that, and that to me again is just using the AI capability as a tool. Nothing else, nothing more. It just helps me do that. So yeah, for research capability, it's really good in helping you shape your I guess plans and things like that. But yeah, power, like you say, power is the problem.
Definitely.
So let's talk about tap to pay then. So I use Apple Pay pretty much
everywhere,
every day, near enough, or well, within reason. I very rarely carry a wallet anymore.
No, I had to remember today. I thought I'm going to get my car washed at lunchtime. All right, I need to take a wallet with me, so I'm going to need to get some actual cash out.
Some what?
I know. Oh man, this is very antiquated.
So yeah, I mean, I use it on travel, things like that. So yeah, so tap to pay, but it's kind of the NFC payment or the NFC capability. It's quite old now, isn't it? It's not really. It's been around for some time. The underlying technology and the underlying, I guess, framework that's there, isn't it? But there is now a multi-purpose tap concept which has come out from the NFC Forum, who are the consortium of companies that guide and shape how NFC, the standard, works, and of course includes our favorite friends of Google, Apple, Sony, and others in there. So the main players.
Yeah.
But what's it's going to bring though? Because it's going to have some kind of clever ideas.
Yeah. So at the moment, NFC is kind of a single tap, isn't it? You pay for something, you open a door with it, but it's one tap and one kind of purpose. So the idea with multi-purpose is you do a single tap, but it can do multiple kind of transactions at the same time. So, I mean, one of the examples they gave in the new spec is that maybe you're going to buy some beer or some wine at the shop. Not only do you pay for it when you do a tap, it confirms that you are eligible. You're old enough by presenting your ID. Adds points to your loyalty card account. It pays for the item, obviously. But also provides you a digital receipt straight into your wallet on the phone. All in one kind of tap.
I really like that. That's really clever.
Yeah, I definitely think it can definitely be improved as a single tap. As I think we were speaking of it offline, weren't we? I was a little worried about some of the privacy aspects here.
Yeah,
because if it's done automatically, I don't necessarily want to give every shop I work at my ID or whatever it's requesting information on me. I just want to pay for the item.
Yeah, that is a valid
so
point.
What's stopping them requesting more information than what you think they're entitled to? What kind of safeguards are there? But then if you've got a prompt up saying, "Oh, what information do you want to give?" This is more than a single tap now, isn't it?
Granted, but I guess the idea though, like let's take a store in the UK. Let's take Tesco's, major supermarket, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got you've got your Tesco Club Card, which is your loyalty point system, isn't it? In there, and imagine if you're doing that though, that you go there and you do your weekly shop and you go to pay, but obviously you've got your Club Card you need to scan for points. Let's say we're buying some alcohol because we're over 18, and you want to do that. And again, do that. But like I say, imagine if I guess the concept would be here, you scan that once, it pays for it, but whilst doing that, it adds the points to your Club Card because it can scan at the same time. it verifies your age against the alcohol, because so you don't have that kind of the pay self pay thing where you've got to wait for somebody to come over and verify your age.
Yeah.
Of course, at our age, they look at you and just roll their eyes and press the button.
Please ID me. Please ID me.
Do you know what? I don't want to be ID'd. If you ID me, I'm going to get upset because I clearly am well over 18. And they do that, and then you kind of, I guess, at the same time, it gives you an email in your inbox rather than giving you a physical email.
I definitely see the benefit for it. I just worry about what else they'll take, and do you have any say in what information you're giving them? If it's more than just payment.
That I get, and I think you're right. That's where it needs to come down to controls over how that works. What I will say though is, obviously the example I just gave was probably a bit of a long-winded one, but imagine if it did do that though. How easy would that be to not have to worry about all those different cards? It could connect all the dots, join all the dots together.
Yep.
And off you go.
Yeah. I mean, other than ID though, I have my club card points or digital anyway.
Yeah, no, granted, but I guess in one tab.
Yeah, in one tab, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. I know I was probably going a little bit, but I like the idea of it. But you're right. If it could do all that, and it could provide, the ability to send the receipts, because I don't know about you now, but every shop you go into, they're like, "Can I have your email address to send a receipt?" No. I mean, not because I'm a Luddite and I don't want you emailing me. Well, I don't want to give you my email address,
because I'll give you the email address just for receipt, and you'll sign me up to a marketing thing that I haven't actually asked to be signed up for.
Yeah.
Always do.
And they go, "Oh, it's not for marketing." Yeah, right.
So what you're saying is, I'm only going to get the receipt. I won't get any further emails from you. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Though I'd rather it be if I pressed, if I tapped it, it just basically gave me a receipt without any kind of worry or anything like that. That I'm not exposing it. A bit like when Apple does the kind of obfuscated receipt email address. So you don't expose your own. That's the kind of concept I'd like that to do.
Definitely.
So tap to pay this. So again, this is at the moment, really, this is a vision. This hasn't been released. It's still going through, I guess, the kind of discussion, but they've released this kind of concept of how they'd like it to go. So things can still change. We know there's probably a lot of privacy concerns here. So when it probably does arrive at some point in the near future, it'll be watered down massively. But I think the initial concept has, a lot of good ideas.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I'd say I generally like the idea of going to do more with less.
Always more with less. So, talking more or less with more, Twilio, who have announced that their Authy two-factor authentication application has been hacked, and the attacker has walked away with, according to them, the phone numbers of 33 million users. Now, for disclosure purposes, I use Authy as my two-factor authentication app. I haven't been contacted. Now, Authy have said, or Twilio have said, that they've now confirmed, according to their, I quote, Twilio has detected that threat actors were unable to identify data associated with Authy accounts, including phone numbers, due to an authenticated endpoint. We've heard that one before. We've taken action to secure this endpoint and no longer allow authenticated requests. We've seen no evidence that the threat actor obtained access to Twilio systems or sensitive data. And then they go on to basically say that the accounts are not compromised, but they may use your phone number to do phishing attacks or smishing. Yes. And apparently, I believe they have contacted users. Now, I've not had anything. I've not seen anything. Annoyingly, I've not seen any email from Twilio or Authy to say that there's breaches here. So I'm a little bit disappointed on that front.
Yeah, that's not really on, is it? Come on, if you've announced it to the press, you should have announced it to all your users, haven't you? Because that wasn't on BBC News, was it? It was in tech press that not everyone reads.
Exactly. And it turns out that according to other news sites, the attackers are known as Shiny Hunters. What a great name.
Yeah.
And they are also responsible for a large-scale phishing attack as well, which is, a large-scale phishing attack that apparently was around the theft of over 10,000 employee credentials of several companies as well. Now, again, I must stress, This is nothing to do with the Twilio. There was a Twilio breach 2 years ago. This is nothing to do with that. Just to be clear on that front.
No, those shiny hunter guys though, they've done a couple recently. They did the Evolve Bank, which was used by Wise and other fintech companies. I got an email from Wise about that one, that they stopped using Evolve Bank in last year at some point, so I should be good. But they also did the Santander one, Ticketmaster.
Ooh.
Yeah, which was a 30 million. It was a lot of Santander staff plus 30 million customers in Spain, Chile, and Uruguay via Ticketmaster.
Yeah, there's more and more of this, isn't it? I mean, it's low hanging fruit. The phishing attack and
Yep.
are simple attacks, really, aren't they? And we've mentioned before about how AI can help this, but you're right. These shiny hunter guys have been around for 4 years now, maybe about that in 2020.
Yeah, 2020, I think.
And as you say, they have been, they've got several scalps under their belt, as it were. A lot of data there, and they've also been involved. Now, again, not 100% credited to, but allegedly by them as well, which includes many other accounts of different websites and services, and we're talking into close to billions of user records here, aren't we?
Yep.
Based on the numbers. Now, they are under investigation by the FBI plus several other forces around the world, and they sell a lot of their information on the dark web as well. Now, only one person has been arrested in conjunction with this, which is a guy called Sebastian. I'm going to go with Raoult, who was a French national, who was arrested in Morocco in 2022.
Okay.
And he was sentenced to 3 years in prison in January this year, in order to pay back $5 million. Now, originally there was talk of him serving 116 years in prison, which I do love the American justice system.
Yeah. You get less for murder.
Yeah.
Considerably less.
But he has been done now. 12 months of sentence for conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and the remainder for aggravated identity theft. So there's still people out there doing this. But yeah, this is not good. And again, it's the amount of phishing attacks we see this day, the amount of mobile or cellular, wherever you are, attacks that come in, and you get numbers ringing on your phone, unknown numbers, don't you? You don't answer it, but if you do answer it, it's a call center in India or some other country that's trying to, basically defraud you of some information, isn't it? Or anything like that. Or what's the best one in the UK? We get regular of the tax office, His Majesty's Revenue, isn't it?
It's HMRC calling you.
There's a warrant out for your arrest. Really, is there?
Really? Okay, I can never actually get hold of you. I want to. You wouldn't be calling me.
No, so it is pretty, here. So again, but it's not great here. I'm just a little disappointed that Twilio didn't make more of an announcement on this than they did.
Yeah, I know.
Talking of breaches, then, so a little while ago, Microsoft was breached in terms of their source code, and we talked about this before, didn't we? That a lot of Microsoft source code had been attacked or accessed unauthorized by a threat actor who is known as Midnight Blizzard. Now, you may know Midnight Blizzard as their other name of ATP29, aka Cozy Bear.
Oh, the bears.
All the bears. And they are a group which is affiliated with the SVR in Russia, so the Russian Intelligence Services, and they go by many other names or associated with other groups that are alongside them. And it's now, according to Microsoft, back in March, they notified the US Department of Veterans Affairs that they also had been impacted in that security breach when they stole source code. Now, again, the rumors were that they were trying to get access to a lot of Microsoft senior leadership, through the emails, weren't they?
Yep.
And also trying to look in the code to find, vulnerabilities, exploits now. But this department, the VA department, it turns out that they used a single set of credentials we used to access a test environment earlier this year, which amazingly was only used for 1 second.
They were just testing if it worked, but they did go after the US Agency for Global Media, where they got a load of data from, but they have said it wasn't security or sensitive P2 data, and also the Peace Corps as well.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
The joke I missed to do here, Midnight Blizzard is not the latest Game Pass game, just to be clear.
No, it's not.
But
they did though. Those Midnight Blizzard, those were the guys, if you hadn't heard them before, who did the SolarWinds attack.
Yeah. And they're here. Like I said, they're affiliated to the SVR. So the SVR is Russian intelligence. They also go by, say, the Cozy Bear, the Dukes, Nobelium. There's several versions of their names, if you will. And again, they're the group. They're either splinter groups or they're affiliated groups. They're also have been associated, I should say, with the Democratic National Committee, which was their attack in 2015. And I think it's quite concerning, isn't it? When you look at these things, and Cozy Bear's the kind of the official name of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is when you've got here Russian intelligence services, either the SVR, could be the FSB as well, attacking multinational companies. Looking that it's they're looking for vulnerabilities here. They're attacking political institutions. This is not some little cyber criminal activity. This is nation state hacking, isn't it? Really,
Of course,
under the guise of cyber criminality.
Of course, Russia will just deny all knowledge.
It is, and we've got them, looking at Microsoft here. Let's be honest, ironically, Microsoft are a company that also sells security software, but we won't go into that right now. But who doesn't run Microsoft? Even the Russians run knockoff copies of Microsoft software, don't they? So,
Yeah.
But what we see here is a persistent theme, of attacking military installations, the Pentagon, political installations, the DNC. We've seen them attacking other governments in Europe, the Norwegians, the Dutch. We obviously know that they attacked SolarWinds. We also know that they tried to steal vaccine information during the COVID crisis. And that they managed to get an attack, obviously, with Microsoft in doing that. I just wonder what is next with these guys, because this is not new. Oh, there was one other story. They also last month were accused of accessing TeamViewer.
Oh, were they? Okay.
Yeah.
Not used that in a while, but still not good.
Thank
A lot
God.
of people do use it.
Yeah, so you've got Russians here, and the SolarWinds attack. Well, the Solar is now a textbook attack, isn't it, on supply chain?
It is, yeah.
Information. I've used that, by the way, a few times when discussing with clients. I've also used it when talking about cybersecurity with schools as well.
Yep.
Because it's just a very good way to explain what a cyber supply chain attack looks like. And I think, as we all know now, you need to have proper security inside your code deployment.
Definitely.
Which they clearly didn't have. But yeah, so I mean, I wonder, in all honesty, how much more information is going to come out from the Microsoft attack, because I just have a feeling that they haven't disclosed everything.
No,
Perhaps
we've not seen it all yet.
But I wonder, obviously, they will have done, I suspect, to the government agencies. But I think publicly it's not all there.
Well, I hope they've done a better job than Twilio of informing their users.
Well, yes, I suspect they have. I imagine Microsoft, there will have been calls made to the relevant government or the relevant regulators wherever they are. All right, let's change the tune slightly differently. Let's talk about Meta's, well, not Meta, I should say. The challenger to the Meta Ray-Bans is this new camera glasses coming from Solos. Now, that is Solos, not Sonos, just to be clear, because I said that earlier and you thought I said Sonos. It is the Solos Air Go Vision. What a snappy name. I really want a pair. Now, I said to you, I wanted a pair of glasses like Google Glass that had cameras built in that could use an AI co-pilot to look at stuff and, I guess, help me. And somebody's done it.
Yeah.
Somebody has done it.
They have, yeah. So they're smart glasses, aren't they? So they've got a camera, just like the original Google Glass did. Yeah. So you too can be a glass hole again.
It's easy now.
Easy, I know. But yeah, I think they look all right. You can look very much like Meta's Ray-Bans, don't they? But with a camera, you can change the frames on them. So you can even remove the camera if you're going to be in an area where it might have stuff you probably shouldn't be videoing. But yeah, they'll answer your questions over audio because there's no built-in display, is there? That's the missing piece I want, is the AR display in it. But not that yet, but you will get LEDs to show up in your vision to alert you you've got messages or emails, and you can ask it to read it out to you. But so the main selling point is that integration with GPT-4o, where you can look at something and say, tell me what that is, or where did I lose something, and it will actually remember because it's already processed the vision for you.
I think this is awesome. And again, they've also said that you'll be able to swap out the AIs as well. So you can use Google's Gemini or Claude. So that's really kept. So you're not tied to one AI. So again, if you're not paying for ChatGPT
Yep.
this month, if I'm not, um, you can use somebody else. I love this. I kind of want to use these. I really do. I just genuinely think that these could be fun. I know, like you say, there's privacy concerns and all that kind of stuff. We're always going to have that, isn't it? Always going to have it. But
but probably me and you have also got we actually wear glasses. So I didn't see any mention of being able to get prescription versions of these.
no, true.
So
And
you're
so
going to have to wear
pricing
glasses on top of your glasses.
Well, you never know. And from a pricing perspective, yeah, potentially $250. We don't know that, but that's
Still cheaper than my prescription glasses.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just think this is a great idea. I'm just so pleased that somebody else thought of it. Wish I could have done, but clearly I don't have the engineering chops or the facilities.
Good to see you
do
wandering
that.
around the office with a webcam slapped to your head, aren't you?
It's
Gaffer
just
tape to the
duct
side of your
tape,
head, speaking into your phone.
Yeah. So on one hand you got the webcam. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the one.
the phone duct taped to your face. Yeah. Yeah, might as well. Why not? Get the same effect. Cheaper probably. So on that point, the Tech Rumor Mill is back this week. So we've got 2 rumors in here this week. And again, we continue to bring the Apple rumors because it's that time of year. So roll up the first one then, Carl, which is
More cameras.
Ming Kuo.
Just where you want them. Yeah, Ming Kuo. So apparently Apple is planning to begin mass production of new AirPods. Great. With a camera module in them. Looking at 2026 here. But not kind of a camera for taking pictures, an IR camera. So same kind of thing Face ID runs on. I think the idea here is to be. They haven't gone into too much detail, but if you're using IR, I presume it's to do with spatial mapping, because I have said it will help you enhance spatial audio and computing experiences. Also, kind of work with Vision Pro, isn't it? So enhance capabilities of Vision Pro, and I think that could be using the eye cameras for seeing what your hands are doing if they're out of shot of the Vision Pro sensors for gesture controls and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about it because I thought, Carol, why would you have an AirPod? Why, it's like, why would there be an AirPod? But then I kind of say, it's for authentication, isn't it? It's for, I guess, room sizing, kind of spatial. Yep. But I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Do you think, is it needed?
I don't know. But then you could argue, do the AirPods really need spatial audio either? I mean, do you use spatial audio?
It's on all the time.
Oh, is it on all the time? So you do kind of use it then?
Yeah, I'd say for me, it's on all the time. I mean, and you can tell it when you move your head around. You do get that sensation of left right.
Okay, but do you want that? I mean, it's not something that's ever. I don't own AirPods, so it's not. But it's not something that's appealed to me.
Yeah, it does work. When it works, it is really nice. I can't deny it. It is a very clever thing, and it does give you a sense of. If you're watching a band, there is a sense of movement, noise if you move left and right, and things like that. So I'm up for it personally, but but does it if it includes the cost or it does other weird stuff? Yeah, I don't know. The other one could be interesting with authentication on the device. Because if you lose them. It's easy to swap them or replace. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I'm puzzled by this one a little bit, if I'm honest with you. Can you tell?
Yeah. I mean, the gesture controls. You just move one down the street looking like a right weirdo, aren't you? Moving your hands up side of your head, trying to get it to play or pause.
Yeah, there is that as well. I mean, on my Sony WXM5s, they've got the kind of you can touch the sides of them left, right, for buttons. I turned it off because I don't use it, but somehow it's turned back on, and I just touched the side of my head earlier, and it started playing music. I was like, "What is going on?" And then I realised it just pressed play, which I thought I disabled. So that was a little bit puzzling.
Yeah, I don't know. So we're not going to find out until 2026. So we're a few years away on that one. But I'll be interested to see what stuff they actually bring to market with it.
Yes, that's true. We will have to wait and see where that goes with that. Okay, cameras maybe needed, not sure.
How about giant screens though on your speakers?
Well, this I'm down for. And again, this is a rumor that I swear was knocking around.
We've covered this one a few times, I think, over the years.
Yeah, I thought we had. So this is about a HomePod with a display, isn't it?
Yes. So
And
Mr. Bloomberg, Mark Gurman, is saying 2025 for this one, but this is the original OG HomePod, the big one. Which did you see the other day? It's now been classed as vintage by Apple.
yes, I did. Yes, yes.
So not far from end of life for that one then.
But they didn't announce a new one.
No, they've still not announced a new one. You've got the small speakers, haven't you? But no large ones. So this apparently will be the next large one, I imagine. But it's been found in Apple's code base as an unreleased home accessory product, similar to the identifiers used for the original HomePods. But yeah, what we're seeing is it's literally it's a HomePod with an iPad slapped on top, isn't it?
It is. Now I'm down for this because this looks very similar to kind of the Alexa with a screen, doesn't it?
Yep.
And given that I'm all in with the Apple ecosystem, this could be really cool as long as I could manage Home Assistant through it, I guess. But yeah, I'd like this because I could have it in the living room. It'd be worse. It'd be better than She Who Should Not Be Mentioned and her rubbish results. But if iOS 18 comes in with the updates as they're saying, I won't have any more of these. I've sent that to your iPhone.
Yeah, exactly. And it's meant to be running the A18 chip, or the one that's due out this year. So it should have plenty of oomph to do all the AI processing as well if you're using it as an assistant. But I say with that display, I imagine you'll be able to use it as a HomeKit console, won't you, to do home automation and interact with the house from there?
Yeah, I think I guess it's going to have to run tvOS, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Because it can't run iOS because it wouldn't make any sense. And you want to cut down version. You don't really want to have it as another iOS device.
No, this needs to be nice, big buttons, easy to use, simple kind of thing, not too complicated.
Yeah, simple. Because me press the button, me make it work.
Well, no, you don't want to be complicated when the entire family's using it.
No, you want something that I know Apple do intuitive very well, but you can walk up to it and
press the big music button for music, and
yeah, exactly. Or you press the doorbell's ringing, answer kind of thing, that kind of stuff, isn't it? Or a nice button for intercom for the HomePods,
exactly.
That kind of stuff, as opposed to Sesame Street, I'm a 5-year-old, I need big buttons kind of thing. Yeah, it needs to be intuitive, but not simplistic, I think is the right way to do it.
Yeah.
But this you said only has been identified inside the code bases. There's based on what Germa was saying, that it's based on an 18 chip, which of course is what's coming up later this year with the iPhone 16s. But yeah, I don't know. Apple make a lot of stuff that never exists.
They do. Really? Yeah, they're filing patents all the time that never see the light of day.
Yeah. Now, interestingly though, according to 9to5 Mac, they discovered that Apple had been testing tvOS on an iPad Mini.
Okay.
Now, if that's true, that would corroborate perhaps what you may get with the device here.
Yeah, iPad Mini strapped to a HomePod.
Does it come with its own duct tape?
Blue tack.
Blue tack. Nicely done. But yeah, look, I'm interested about this. I'd be down for this. I'd buy one for the house. I think I would.
Yep. I'm looking to replace my Alexas because they're a bit rubbish now. They just seem to get worse and worse as as time goes on. I was like, this never used to be this rubbish when trying to speak to it. And it's so slow. I've got a couple with screens on. Man, they need some horsepower.
She's not slurring, is she?
Yeah, she's not slurring. No. But yeah, you try and interact with the screen, and you flick, and it just takes seconds to respond. I just give up using it. I'm quite interested in building my own with Home Assistant, but we'll see how far they get.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. For me, the HomePod Minis are good.
Yeah.
I just need more functionality with She Who Should Not Be Named.
Yeah, she's terrible. She's worse than the Amazon ones.
Well, yeah, I mean, the other day I was annoyed that my Apple TVs, I went to use Apple TVs, and I thought, I'll try and use the new, the FaceTime capability with them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Of course, mine are the older Apple TV 4Ks, aren't they? Not the newer 4Ks.
Oh, so you can't use your phone as a camera.
So
No. Why didn't you upgrade?
Oh yeah, why not? I mean,
it's your fault, not Apple's.
I'd drop another 300 drop another 350 quid, because I've got to replace 2 of them.
Yep.
So that's not happening, which is
No.
really frustrating though, because I thought brilliant, that'd be great, for the family and the living room, that kind of stuff. But no, never that simple is it with Apple.
No, of course it's not.
Right, well, that's probably a good place for us to wrap up for today. We'll be back next week with episode 174. All the latest show information, all the latest tech news information on the show. You, of course, can find us at techrant.online. We've, of course, got our YouTube channel at Weekly Tech Rant, where you can find all of the podcasts there, linked in a nice audio format, and all the back catalogue there. All our shows, as I said, TechRant.online, which talks about all the things we talked about this show, as well as all the other shows, and wherever you get your podcast from. And of course, we're still on Twitter, X, whatever Elon wants to call it this week, at Weekly Tech Rant. So please, do give the show a like, share it with your friends. It all helps. Thank you very much. Right then, I think on that note then, I've been Jay.
I've been Carl. Have a good one all.